Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today it's another beautiful day. Actually, it is a little bit chilly. It's September. I live in Utah, zone 6/7, and it is actually close to the third week in September, and we even had our first snow in the highest mountains behind my house. That is about an average thing. We usually plan on seeing the first snow in the mountains, mid to late September. It can happen earlier. I've seen it snow in June before. But it is getting cooler, it's fall, and it is time for a video that I have thought about doing for about 4 years. I think maybe I did a video when I first planted the plants that I'm going to talk about, then I really haven't done a video about them since because I wasn't sure how they were going to do and what I thought about them. So let me show you what they are and talk a little bit about them. Now this vining plant right here in my garden bed is a Chinese Mountain Yam. I'm going to slaughter the pronunciation, but I think it's Dioscorea batatas. Cinnamon vine is another name. The flowers have a gorgeous scent, and I'm going to show you what the flowers look like this year, and then I'll show you what the flowers produced. Now when I first planted this, I received a couple of little tubers or bulbules, whatever you call them. Let me see if I can find one or two of them here. So this is what the bulbules look like. And I received a package with, I think, 6 of them. Planted the 6 in my garden bed, and it was about 4 years ago. And then I got just 3 or 4 really spindly vines. I put a trellis up because I knew that it would vine, and the trellis was really weak, and it pulled the trellis over. But nothing much really happened. But I planted them because I had assumed I would be able to dig down and find the root. In Japan, they call it nagaimo. It's kind of a slimy, mucilaginous root that you can use in place of potatoes. Now when I dug down, I didn't find any roots, so I just kind of assumed that it was a waste. I dug that whole area out and thought that was going to be the end of it. But the next year, we had the vines reappear, and then that year, we had a couple of tiny little bulbules appear. Now there was only 2 or 3, and not even enough to really sample. So I left the vines again just to see what would happen because they came back a little more vigorously. The third year, they produced a pretty decent sized crop. I actually had a meal or 2 out of them. Now I've never tried digging down for the roots again. I might try that again this year, but I need to wait until the plants die back a little bit. But this in year 4, the amount of growth and the amount of bulbules that it produced has been tremendous. Now I'll show you how many are on the ground right now and collect a few, talk about how I've cooked them, and then talk a little bit about the growing conditions. Now according to Google, Chinese Mountain Yam really likes to have moist soil. Here in Utah, we don't have moist soil. It's quite dry, but it is moist up here in my garden beds. And according to my research, it also looks like they need full sun. So this is in full sun, it's got moist soil, and supposedly they don't really care what type of soil they grow in. They can grow in heavier soil or sandier soils, and just a moderate pH would be good. Now, because they grow so readily in so many different kinds of areas, in areas of the country where it's more wet, like the southern areas or the eastern areas, this plant has become pretty invasive. Now I'm not too worried about it becoming invasive in Utah because it propagates itself just by these little bulbules that fall on the ground. You can see all of them that are on the ground there. Let me go get my stand and let's see how many we can collect just in a small area. Now this is what the bulbule looks like close up. They don't get much bigger than this. I have never seen them much bigger than this. And this is what the plant grows from. It's kind of like the seed of the plant. But you can also roast them, cook them up, and eat them like potatoes. But as you can see, with a bulbule that small, it's going to take a lot of them to make a meal. So it's not really a plant to feed a family, but the roots are quite large and could probably make up a couple of meals. Now I don't know if you can tell on this one, but it looks like it's already started to sprout. Everything underneath this vine is really dark and moist, so it looks like it just decided it wanted to grow. This is how easy these bulbules grow. Now, as I said, it propagates itself via these bulbules, but they don't have seeds in them, so it's not going to get propagated by animals eating it and pooping it out. It's also not going to be carried off by birds and because it's under the, all of the bulbules are under the vine. So it's not going to be carried off by birds. So basically the way I see this becoming invasive is it slowly encroaching out from the base of the mother plant. It's dropping its little bulbules, growing new ones, dropping more bulbules, growing new ones. So growing it here in Utah in a garden setting, it may become a problem here. I'm starting to see a ton. I mean, look, this is what I've gathered in 3 minutes just from one small area. That's quite a bit. And some of them are already starting to sprout like I showed you. So I don't know if it would be too bad to have more people growing it here in Utah. I am actually going to share these bulbules with other people and see what their experience is, with the warning that they need to be careful about it spreading. Now look, here's one that started to form a major taproot. We've got a taproot here and a taproot here. And this is only September. They're hardy from zone 4 through zone 11, so they can grow just about anywhere in the United States. So I cleaned out one small area, got enough for maybe a meal. It's probably about the bulk of a mashed potato. And they are actually pretty good. So it's going to be interesting to see how this continues to grow. And I think I'll do another video a little bit later in the year when I go in and dig down and see if I can find the root. I need to research and find out if 4-year-old roots are good to eat, but it would be interesting to find out. Now I've heard that the roots can grow down about 3 feet deep, so I'm hoping that I can eventually find it. I know that the hill that I'm on right now is mostly rock, so it can't get down too far. And when I say mostly rock, it's like you have to use a pickaxe to dig through it. You can't dig through it with a shovel. So I'm hoping that slows it down a little bit. But we're going to see what it's like. I would love to hear your experience with Chinese Mountain Yam. I would love to know if you've grown it, what you eat, if you eat the roots, if you eat the bulbules, and how invasive it's been in your area. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it has been helpful, I hope you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.